Hello to all of you amazing coaches joining me this week for another episode of the Best Damn Coach Show, where I am sharing my strategy to 3x our growth in 2025. In fact, I'm going to walk you through the exact steps that I use to map out our growth strategy and what we're going to be working on in 2025. And you definitely want to listen to the end because I share the greatest mistake I feel like I made for years that held me back from the level of growth that has been awaiting me, and how you can avoid that right now and definitely get there faster. So no gatekeeping here. I'm telling you exactly what we're doing in 2025 to create more impact and more profit. Hello, coaches. So excited for this week's episode because we are setting you up for success as you enter into 2025. I really wanted to create a two-part series for you that helps you get laser focused on where your energy is best spent. And the reason I'm inspired by this is because I see this pattern a lot and trend inside my community is there's lots of opportunities, lots of places and things that you could be spending your business or spending your energy on. And there's lots of different coaches out there saying, this is the thing, and this is the thing, and this is the thing. And so it's so confusing. And so I thought a great way to kickstart this two-part series is to let you in behind the scenes on exactly how we plan out our years and decide where our energy is going to be best spent. So I'm going to walk you through the process, but I'm also going to be totally transparent about how our energy, what we're doing in 2025 and my strategy to 3 times our growth, which is a really big, audacious goal. And I am here freaking for it. And I think a lot about my dogs. I have 2 Australian Shepherds, Jack and Ollie. If you don't know anything about Aussie Shepherds, they're freaking energetic. They're all over the place. And I laugh because it's the other day, it was like there was toys out and Ollie, he's the like more energetic kind of misbehaved one. It was like he had this little wheel and then a rope and a ball. And it's like, he's like, I don't know which one is the best, which one is the best. And I'd be like, buddy, they're all great. Just pick one and play with it. And that's actually what I think is missing from your business too, is pick one and play with it. And not in a weird way, that could come off really weird, but you get what I'm saying is I want to help you do that. And so I'm breaking the episode into 2 parts. One, today, I'm going to walk you through kind of the 5 steps that help me decide our exact business strategy and what ours looks like in 2025. And then I'm going to help you pick the ball to play with or pick the toy to play with in our next episode. So definitely don't miss out on these. I want you to send them to other people. If you would do me the favor after you listen to this, if it feels like, dang girl, this was good, send this to somebody else that you think could benefit, because I want to stop coaches from wasting time. There is impact to be made. People need you. People want you. You have a passion. You're ambitious. You're a go-getter. And if you're all over the place trying to decide between all these toys, you're never going to get there. And the reality is, any toy is fun once you choose to play with it and it works. And the same is true for business strategy. And anybody who tells you differently is doing you a total disservice, and I think a big fat liar. Because any strategy works. We just have to figure out the strategy that works best for you, which I'll get to in a little while. The other thing I just wanted to share with you is we are right on the heels of our promotion for the end of 2024 for the Best Damn Coach. If you haven't seen me talk about this yet, we're sending emails out to our newsletter as we speak when this episode goes live. We're talking about it on social media, but I want to have amazing coaches just like you join the community right now as we head into 2025. And so we are offering an amazing incentive right now of $1,000 off your year long. So that's if you join for the year long investment in the BDC, which basically takes you all through 2025 with us. So we're offering $1,000 off right now through December 16th, which happens to be my birthday. So we are about a week away from that promotion ending before we go on kind of our own little holiday hiatus and the team takes time off. The other thing that you get access is to a private event I am hosting when you join the BDC. as a bonus is our 2025 implementation event. So this is a members only BDC experience that I host every December. It's a 4-hour event where I walk you through a step-by-step process to map out your 2025 goals. I teach you how to look at your numbers, how to do projections, how to set goals, how to support those goals. It is amazing. Our clients are already asking for it. Amanda, when is it? I was like, girls, it's on the calendar, December 18th. So if you would love to chat about the BDC and if it's a great fit for you, you can just book a call, grab it some time to talk with me. And you can do that at amanda-walker.com/let's chat, LETSCHAT, no apostrophe in there. Okay. So let's talk about the process of how I'm going to 3x our growth next year and the exact steps that I take to get there. So the first and foremost is before I know what's next, I have to reflect on what just happened. And so the first thing, usually I'm just going to kind of walk you through the exact timelines of where everything comes to mind for me. It's like usually about October when Q4 hits, I start to feel this energy of preparation. Like, okay, 2025 is coming. It's time to start thinking about what we're doing. Because when we set kind of the year, we set it in calendar years. So that means every October-ish, I need to start thinking about it because by November, I'm presenting what's next to the team and that falls on my shoulders exclusively. And so about October, I'm starting to think, okay, where am I at? Do I like what's happening? And for us, this has been an amazing year. We're up about 60% in revenue. I love that revenue, even more growth because it's in a business model shift where I've moved away more from one-to-one, doing more minimal one-to-one work and kind of handpicking who I work with and increasing our group program offerings and focusing on those offers. And I think that has been just such an amazing value. And it's part of the reason we've had such great success is I've been able to have more white space to focus on growth in the business and the other offerings. But it also has allowed me to focus more on the potency and the amazing content that I deliver to the BDCers. I think the BDC community would definitely agree to the power of every single call and what happens for them inside of those calls. So by October, I'm kind of actually looking at the numbers. How many people did we have in each offer? How much revenue came from each of those offers? And how are people getting into those offers exclusively? How were we able to track them? And what I was able to see is that our webinar plan to do webinars every Tuesday and sprinkled in as a mix of organic and mostly cold traffic has definitely been a critical growth factor for us. I have a mechanism. It's a webinar. I sell in the webinar. I get clients. I sell on any workshop. I get clients, which I'm going to talk about how I figured that out momentarily. And so I start to ask like what went really well. And I just sit down and do kind of a brain dump, either handwritten or this year I did it in just a document and really assess what's gone really well. What did I really like delivering on? What patterns did I change? Another pattern I changed this year was we committed at the beginning of the year, there would be no new offers. So I've literally focused on the BDC and the FBL. That's it. I haven't even tried to sell any one-to-one coaching this year. And I still have one-to-one coaching clients that come to me, but that has not been a focus of my offer at all or of any calls to action we've given. So not one time in an email, not one time on a podcast did I ever say, there's one-to-one coaching spots open. And that was strategic because that's actually not what I wanted to grow, which may be the opposite for you, which was for me years ago is like, that's all I wanted to grow because I knew that was a fast track to cash and experience and exposure and confidence and testimonials. So as you listen to this, like put yourself in the driver's seat of this conversation because this is going to be how you do it for your business where you're at. And many of you are nearing, wanting to near that multiple six-figure mark. And I think that one-to-one coaching is a great way to do it with a reflection of designing with the end in mind and knowing that at some point that's also not scalable. There's a cap there. So step one is know your numbers and what went well. So there's a bit of reflection necessary. And so in knowing that was like, all right, webinars worked really amazing. Selling those 2 offers worked really amazing. So a lot of this isn't going to be super different. But knowing that specifically, one thing that worked extremely well for us was putting a lot of energy into the Framework Builder Lab. is that when people join the lab, we have a great conversion rate into the BDC. So I don't know the exact percentage right now at this moment, but I would likely to guess that 60% of our current members came from the Framework Builder Lab. That is important information. So what that told me is this trust building offer of the FBL, they get a taste of what it's like to work with me and get value from working with me. And they love it so much. They're like, okay, Amanda, I want to keep learning from you. So what this also told me is I was already feeling this new offer come. I've been honestly all year sitting with it. I actually taught this exact framework in the BDC during the springtime. This framework that's working so well for me, I'm like, every coach should have this. I've always had this kind of small buy offer in my business. It looked different over the year, but truthfully, the last 12 months is when I exclusively focused on building this. I was like, I got to have another one of those, which will be launching again in January. I'm not going to share details now, but it's going to change your world. It's what's helped our revenue get up to the 60% increase. And no doubt it's going to help you as well. So I also am like, that's what else we have to work on is we have a lot of good things going. We don't need much new. This one offer is going to be a new funnel in our business. But outside of that, we don't need a lot of new things. It's working. Let's do more of it. So that leads to step number 2 is identifying my strengths and our team's strengths. First, I start with me. What are my strengths? My strong point is being a visionary, being able to be creative. I love being creative. I love actually seeing how things work inside the business. I didn't always love that. That definitely been a learned opportunity. But a huge strength of mine is teaching and coaching in a group. I actually feel like I'm kind of thinking like, man, I'm even better in a group than a one-to-one possibility because I really thrive off the energy of group and the feedback. But the strength piece comes from the reflection of what we say in the company is when Amanda coaches, clients come. When Amanda teaches, clients come. So I personally know that about myself. So I don't spend time going into networking events. It feels like an energy drain for me. In the beginning, I spent more time doing that. And you might need to as well, just for, again, that omnipresence that we talked about back in November. But what you have to know is, what are your strengths? If hosting a webinar is not a strength for you, then what can you do instead? Can you go teach in other people's? Can you speak on other people's stages? If going to networking events is awesome for you, then how do you do it? So you have to identify what your strengths are specifically so that you can double down on them. So for us, we know teaching and webinars bring clients. We have to do more of that. So we want to build out this second funnel, if you will, of impact, because I can impact way more people with this other thing that I want to be teaching people around this very important trust building small buy offer. So now I'm like, okay, how do we double down on that? Which is step number 3. How do I double down on that? So I started just asking myself, how do I double down on that? And here's the thing, you guys, there is no right way. There are some people that will tell you that social media is the fastest and best way to grow the business. If you believe that and you want that, then I freaking want you to go all in on it. I don't believe that because I just don't want to put all my eggs into somebody else's basket and build my business on somebody else's land. But I do think it's valuable. If you believe webinars are the best, go. If you believe challenges are the best, go. If you believe running ads to a video to your offer are the best way, go. But you have to double down on it. So if you had only one webinar in 2024, can you have 4 webinars once a quarter or 8 webinars? If you hosted 1 challenge, can you do 3? If you went to 6 networking events, can you go to 12? If you guested on 5 podcasts, can you go to 10? You need to know the numbers so that you know where you want to go. So that's step 3. I asked, how do I double down on that? It's like, great. Well, then I need to have multiple live webinars a week. Can I do 2 live webinars that go to 2 different funnels? Could I automate one of the webinars, which we are ultimately doing? We're going to now move one of our live webinars into an automated sequence. So we have an automated evergreen funnel. And then I'm going to test the live webinar a few times for our next offer so that we can refine it, tweak it, adjust it, make it awesome. And then we'll be ready to go. Right? So then, and we're like, the BDC is awesome. Like, we're already doing things to grow. Bringing on a client success manager has been a critical part of its growth. And now I can work on just content delivery and nurturing the people. So again, it's like, how do I double down on what is already working? So that's ultimately where we sat, is we know we're going to increase or add this funnel, and we're going to direct all the traffic upwards because we know people join when they come into us at the beginning of a smaller bite offer. And then what I actually do at that point is I have started, this is our third year, maybe our second year actually. I actually put together an entire slide deck. And the first thing I do is present these ideas to my OBM, because she's going to be the one that's building things in the background and kind of overseeing some of the projects. I need to know that the tech is great. Even if you didn't have an OBM, I wish I would have done this sooner, like formalize it. I felt a bit like, who am I to? And I've never been in a corporate. I don't know what it's looked like to be in front of a CEO. I know what it's like to be in front of a principal. And when they presented stuff, there was some formality to it. There was some time taken for reflection. And so I asked myself, Amanda, you've got to step into this fully. You got to own the fact that this is your company and you are the one responsible for its growth. It's not my team. It is you. You alone are the CEO. And I don't care if you have 2 clients or 200. When you can turn that switch and really own that space, even if you don't know what the hell you're doing, then I promise you are going to get there faster. And this is a huge mistake that I made. I just waited. I waited too long to own that space, to make that mindset shift. I was treating my business like a business, but I wasn't acting like a CEO, I feel like, to the degree that I am now. And then I present this data. I find the metrics, I kind of rate the company on a scorecard, and I present kind of what I make like an overview of a map of like the model of business that we're moving into. And honestly, it feels so good. And so I would encourage you, map it out, draw pictures. What do you want things to look like? Put it into a calendar. Order a big old calendar. One of my favorite calendars is called literally the Big Ass Calendar by Jesse Itzler. I can drop a link here so you can go search it. That is a big way I start to map out dates. I feel like I'm using my hands so much. If you're watching me on YouTube, it's like very animated episode. And then what I do is I create a theme. This has been so powerful for me. So 2024's theme I've talked often about here on the show, and it is same but better. I was like, no new offers. Nothing fancy, guys. We're just going to do what we've been doing and make it better. And while actually I don't think 2025 differentiates much, what I'm calling 2025 is Operation AOV, increase AOV. And AOV is your average order value. So what that means is for every client that comes into our world, I want to provide more opportunities for service, for more offerings that support them. So I don't have to go out and find more clients. I can serve more of the ones that are already in front of me. So that means when they go to cart checkout, they're going to be presented with additional offers and maybe bump carts or upsells that really make sense to nurture the whole person more deeply. So if they come to the BDC and they want to invest in the BDC, they're going to have opportunity to add on elements that are going to enrich their experience and get them more results. If they come to the FBL, they're going to have this same thing. Like, hey, do you want to add this small by offer intensive? Do you want to add these things? And so we're looking at so many ways to increase what we call the AOV, or what is called the AOV. And so we're asking ourselves that question. And now what I'm going to do is we have a team meeting scheduled where the whole team comes on, and I'm going to present this all to them and get them on board and teach them so we can have buy-in, and we think about how to get more, basically what we want is more impact this year. We know that people have results in our world, and we want more impact to be created. So there are more coaches actually coaching with integrity, who care about results, who are results-driven coaches just like us. And step 5 is the hardest part. And that is like holding accountability to yourself. Like, here's the theme. I gotta hold myself accountable to the theme. I said I was gonna do this. So if all of a sudden shiny offer pops up, shiny investment pops up, a new strategy pops up, I tell my team and I have to be like, no, Amanda, that doesn't support our goal. It's great. It's a great idea, but we got to table it till next year. And so all year long, we're saying no to things that don't make sense to get us to where we want to go. So we can say yes to the things that are going to 3x our growth. So here's a great question that I ask myself all the time. If I say yes, is this going to move me closer or further from the goal or the theme? If I say no, will it? Okay, sweet. No, it is then. So again, that question is, if I say yes, is this going to move me closer or further from the goal or the theme? And then what we spend the year doing is implementing. And we break it down into steps, which I'm going to talk a little bit more about in next episode, where I talk about how does this look for you? How do we know where to spend? Wait, if I'm not ready for a webinar, what if there's other things? And so I'm going to give you kind of a formula in our part 2 of this episode or of this series that's going to help you focus on the one thing for you. But all year long, what we then do is measure it. And measurement is in the form of how does it feel, but also the actual numbers. If we're going to grow our webinar, what numbers are we measuring? Is it working? Is it not? How do we know it's working? And so throughout the year is collecting metrics over and over to figure out, is this really working? And how do we do more of what is working? So I hope that episode is so helpful for you, and it really walks you through our strategy for growing in 2025. But in sharing my strategy, I've given you those 5 steps. Again, let me just go over them real quickly. Step number 1 is know your numbers, what went well. Step 2 is identifying your strengths. 3 is doubling down on those strengths. 4 is creating a theme or goal that's going to be woven through the year. And number 5 is holding yourself accountable to that theme and then going out and measuring it would be kind of like the bonus 6 that happens throughout the year. So again, if you want to be in the company of growth-minded coaches who are implementing, taking action, getting more clients, making more impact, they're being innovative, they're just, so ready to like be sponges to learning and be guided by me, then I would love to chat with you about the Best Damn Coach. You can sign up for a real quick chat, you and me. Amanda-walker.com/let's chat, LETSCHAT. We'll drop the link in the show notes as well. I would love to chat, share more about the BDC, answer any questions you have. And also just if this episode and the strategy and the steps that I walked you through are really powerful for you, if you would just take the time right now, you go copy the link from the episode. You can do it from a browser, from your podcast player, and just hit send in the messenger, in the DMs, to a text message, to a friend or colleague or somebody you know that you feel like would directly benefit from the episode. I would be so, so grateful. So until next week, go coach them up.